Okay, I'm going to go over the ingredients for my apple pie for my birthday, and then we will get going on putting it together. The first thing is a 3-pound bag of organic Granny Smith apples, 2 tablespoons of flour, 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt, 1/8 of a teaspoon of nutmeg, a teaspoon of cinnamon, a teaspoon of 5-spice powder, and if you're not familiar with 5-spice powder, it's a combination of, oh, and I don't have it right in front of me. I'll have to look that up and let you know what's in there. Obviously 5 different spices, but I'll tell you what those are in a minute. A tablespoon of minute tapioca, because sometimes apples are really juicy and I like my pie not to be running all over the place. 2 teaspoons of lemon juice, and a cup of sugar. Now this is half coconut sugar and half organic granulated sugar, and I may have to increase this sugar depending on the tartness of the apples, and I will taste the apples and then determine how much sugar I'm going to need for them. And then I'm cheating today since it is my birthday and I'm not making a homemade pie crust, and I just got one of these great value pie crusts. So we will be back to assemble this pie. Okay, so I'm going to use my handy dandy apple peeler core slicer because I have several apples to do and it just goes way faster. I got this thing from Pampered Chef, I believe, and it does a pretty good job. Like this one has a little bit of problem, but then all you have to do is cut it in half and then you have perfect slices for pie. I'll have to like core this one just a little bit. What I'll do is I'll just cut it there and cut those little middles off just to get the core out. But I am going to cut up all these apples this way, and even if it's more apples than what the recipe calls for, I'm just going to go ahead and use them because I like lots of apples in my pie. And these apple peelings will go out to my chickens. They'll love them. So I'll peel a couple more of these, but I won't make you watch me peel all of them. So we'll just do a couple more, and then that one turned out better. Just cut it in half. I make a lot of applesauce, not every year because we can't eat it all in a year. Every couple of years I'll make a bunch of applesauce. And this peeler has been a godsend, because if I had to peel and core all those apples by hand, it would not be worth it. It would be too much work. Okay, so I'll go ahead and finish up these apples, and when I get them all peeled and sliced, we will be back for the next step. Okay, I looked up in the book what is in 5-spice powder. It is a blend of seasonings from China and Southeast Asia. It usually includes star anise, cinnamon, peppercorns, fennel seeds, and cloves. And I just think it adds a little something extra to my apple pie. It's not called for in the recipe, it's just something that I added. So here we've got the apples, and the recipe called for 6 to 7 cups of sliced apples, and that's probably what we have in this bowl. And since I used up all the apples, if it's not quite enough, oh well, that's all I've got. So to this, you just add all the other ingredients. This is some Himalayan pink salt, sea salt. Here's the nutmeg, the cinnamon, the 5-spice powder, 2 tablespoons of flour. And like I said, the flour is supposed to thicken the juices of the apples, but sometimes I just feel like it doesn't thicken it good enough. So this is another ingredient that's not on the recipe, but I just added myself just for some extra security, and that's 1 tablespoon of the minute tapioca, 2 teaspoons of lemon juice, and that's to keep the apples from browning, but it smells good. And then the 1 cup of sugar, like I said, it's part organic sugar, and then that darker is the coconut sugar. And these apples are fairly tart, so I'm going to add just, I don't know, a little bit more. I don't have, of course this is stuck in the jar. I don't know what happened to my 1/4 of a cup measure. Oh, here it is. Duh. Sometimes my brain don't work right. So I'm going to add another extra 1/4 of a cup of coconut sugar, because this is pie after all. It's not applesauce. And then also a little different thing I had to do with this recipe, because I am dairy free, I can't do anything with dairy. The recipe called for 1/2 cup of heavy cream, and so I had to substitute that with 1/2 cup of cashew milk. So you just mix these ingredients gently in a bowl. So everything is thoroughly combined. That looks pretty good. You know, there's enough liquid and stuff in there. I think I'm going to add like another 1/2 teaspoon of tapioca, just another sprinkling, because I don't like my pie to juicy all over my plate. And I like it to be more solid. And the chances are we'll probably be eating this pie warm, because it's already 1:30. So once you get all those thoroughly mixed, you pour the ingredients into a pie shell. And I am not going to try to make it fancy. Like, you can't see it anyway when it's covered with the other crust. That looks like a yummy pie. This recipe is actually my older sister's recipe. But like I said, I tweaked it a little bit. Now, the last thing you do before you put the top crust on is you're supposed to dot it with butter. Now, like I said, you're probably going to get sick of hearing me say that I can't do dairy. And I don't like margarine because, personal opinion here, I think it's all chemicals, and I don't want it. I want to keep as little chemicals out of my body as I can. And it is really snowing outside. Yuck. So anyway, I'm going to dollop it with coconut oil instead of butter. It said 1 tablespoon, and this is about a tablespoon. So okay, so do that. And then we're going to put the top crust on. Now, like I said, I use the store-bought crust. I am not good at making pie crust. I've seen people do it lots of times and they make it look so easy, but I really am not very good at it. And I didn't feel like struggling to try to make one, especially on my birthday. So now my mother, she is an excellent pie baker. And she's tried to teach me how to make crust, but it just takes a lot of practice, and we don't need to eat pie as often as it would take me to practice. Okay, so I'll go ahead and put this on top, and then we'll go around and crimp the edges. Now my daughter is a pie crust fanatic, so I have to always pinch off some for her to eat raw. So this is just how I do the decorative edge around my pie shells. The way my mother taught me to do it. Everybody has their own system, I'm sure, own method, and nothing, no way is right or wrong. It's just how you prefer to do it. And I like lots of crust, so I don't mind all this extra being, I just fold it under and then crimp it down. Okay, there's that. Now, the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to beat up an egg with a little bit of water, and I'm going to brush the top and then sprinkle it with just a little bit more sugar. When I get to that point, we will be back. Okay, so I've got the pie on a cookie sheet to go in the oven in case there's any spillage. I hate cleaning my oven, so this will help prevent that. I've got one egg, small egg, with a little bit of water. Actually, it was a little bit of cashew milk mixed in with it, beaten together, and I'm just going to brush the crust lightly. From what I have been told, the egg yolk causes whatever you brush, the baked good, to get brown, causes browning, and the egg white makes it shiny. So I wanted it to be both shiny and golden brown, so I kept the egg whole. I'm not going to brush the edges because those tend to get over browned anyway. So we got that, and then I'm going to just take a little bit of this sugar. I really like this organic sugar. It's like it's got a bigger grain to it, and I think it'll make it look really pretty. Okay, now the last thing you have to do before you put it in the oven is you need to cut vent holes. And so, since this is an apple pie, I will poke an A, and then a couple of little decorative slits. Okay, so this will go into a 425-degree oven for approximately an hour. And when it comes out, we'll come back and let you have a look at it. So here's the pie out of the oven, and I'll be chomping down on that pretty soon. I think it turned out really, really good. Okay, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and give this video a big thumbs up. Thanks a lot. Bye.